loses an engine. That brings out the caution flag, and the 2 leaders come out of pit road to take on tires and gas. Rusty Wallace's crew beats everybody out of the pits, and for the moment, Rusty is in the lead. But Kyle Petty is running stronger this week. He'll get underneath Rusty out of turn 4, passing him for the lead. The 400-lap race on this 3/4-mile track begins to take its toll on car and driver. Bill Elliott's Ford puts oil on the track, and the yellow flag comes out. The turning point of the race follows. Davey Allison running third behind Kyle Petty, and Rusty Wallace gets great service from the crew and exits just ahead of Wallace and Petty to take the lead. The race stays green, and Allison goes on to lead 152 of the final 157 laps. Great pit work by the Robert Yates team gives Allison his first win of the year.
Man, I tell you, you just can't believe what was going through my mind and what was, what the kind of pressure all these guys had to have on them after the first 2 races. But I'll say this, they stand behind me no matter what, and I stand behind them no matter what. And here we are today in victory lane again, and I think it's just a tribute to how hard these guys work. It makes my job easy.
Racing weekends are rarely called off, but when the blizzard of '93 hit the Atlanta Motor Speedway, the only thing teams could do was ride out the storm. Conditions at the Speedway were better the following weekend as pole sitter Rusty Wallace led the field for the start of the Motorcraft 500. It doesn't take long for Mark Martin's Ford to dominate the race. Going into lap 225, Martin led 140 of those laps, but that's where his troubles began. Engine failure forces Martin to bring the car to the garage. After a couple of lead changes, Jeff Gordon is in position to win the race, but the young rookie needs to come in for a fuel stop. Crew Chief Ray Evernham lays out the situation via the radio.
We're going to go to lap 3:15, and then we're just going to do a gas and go. We're only going to do a stop and go. Does the car feel good, buddy? Is the car good? No, it's tight.
With just 12 laps to go, Gordon brings his car in for that splash of fuel.
Stop, stop. Go, 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 go.
The slip-up on pit road cost Jeff 3 positions. The lead goes to Morgan Shepherd, who rallies from tire problems to take the checkered flag for the Wood Brothers racing team. Shepherd's win in Atlanta is his 4th Winston Cup career victory. 3 of those have come at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. The calm before the storm at the legendary Darlington Raceway. Early on, Jeff Bodine and Dale Earnhardt get into a battle for the lead on the backstretch. Drivers like Rusty Wallace dive into these narrow corners to gain position. That technique, along with adapting to changing track conditions, help drivers like Martin sneak up on and pass the leader. With sunny weather covering the raceway, Martin's Ford is tuned into the warm conditions and he dominates the event. Just over the halfway point, Bobby Labonte and Jimmy Spencer make contact with each other and hit the wall. Spencer's black and yellow Ford looks a little black and blue. With the caution flag out, the leaders come down pit road. Earnhardt's crew gets to work on a 4-tire change, while Mark Martin's crew does the same. The race off pit road is won by Earnhardt as he pulls his Chevy out of the pit lane just in front of Martin. Dark clouds have rolled in, and Earnhardt now takes advantage of a cooler track to hold off Mark Martin. He further adjusts to the track by running a higher line around Darlington. Skillful driving propels Earnhardt to his first Winston Cup win of the year and 55th lifetime, tying him with Lee Petty on the all-time win list. It was shortly before 9:30 p.m., April 1st, when a small plane went down near Bluntville, Tennessee, killing all 4 passengers aboard, including the reigning Winston Cup champion, Alan Kulwicki. The crash site was just 6 miles from Tri-City Airport, where they were headed for the race in nearby Bristol, Tennessee. That night and the next day, news of Kulwicki's death comes as a shock to most of the racing community already in Bristol.
I went to the garage today and talked to all the guys, or as many as I could. It's like everybody wishes they could say goodbye.
With sleet falling, making the atmosphere even more sullen, Fellow competitors and fans stood in silence as the Kulwicki race team transporter slowly made its way around the half-mile Bristol International Raceway. NASCAR's assistant flagman Mike Chaplin saluted the champion by dropping the checkered flag one final time. Becoming a champion stock car racer was always a possibility for Alan Kulwicki. His commitment to that goal began on the short tracks in his home state of Wisconsin. Eventually, Kulwicki's success on those Midwest tracks led to a decision in 1985 to try NASCAR stock car racing. That following season, Kulwicki earned Rookie of the Year honors, and soon offers came to drive for other teams. But Kulwicki turned down those offers, choosing instead to run his own race team. The desire to do things his way led him to the 1992 Winston Cup Series championship. Perhaps Kulwicki's brightest moment came at the season-ending awards banquet. The self-driven man paused to reflect on his journey against the odds.
If I've been an underdog, or if I've been an example to a lot of the little guys out there, then I'm proud to fill that role. There's a lot of short track drivers and guys in Busch Grand National Racing and people all across the country coming into the sport, making it bigger and better day by day. And hopefully, some of them will look at it and say, well, if he did it, maybe I can do it too. And, I hope I can.
Alan was, he was really a special guy, and I was so proud for him to win the championship in '92, and he knew that. And I think that meant a lot to him, and it meant something to me.
At age 38, Alan Kulwicki fulfilled what he set out to do. He became a Winston Cup champion on the racetrack and was a champion off the track as well. Kulwicki is not to be forgotten on this racing Sunday. 68,000 fans would stand together with the racing community for a moment of silence. But as Alan would have wanted it, racing's nature is to go on with the show. Rusty Wallace leads the field around the half-mile high-banked oval for the start of the 500-lap race. Bristol Raceway is known for its tight racing, and it doesn't take long for drivers to find trouble. Of the 35 starters, 23 are involved in accidents. Frequent trips to the pits or garage area make for a long, frustrating afternoon. Lap 344, front-runner Mark Martin goes high out of the groove, allowing Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace to slip under for the lead. Ricky Rudd brings out the yellow again when he gets a bump from Brett Bodine and goes spinning into the wall. Following the restart, Wallace works on Earnhardt and passes him for the lead. While those two race for the front spot, another pair of drivers are raising eyebrows for their ability to work through incredible odds. After starting dead last, Darrell Waltrip has moved up to 6th place, and Davey Allison, running on only 7 cylinders, is managing to hang on to 5th. But on a day when crippled cars hobble their way around the track, Rusty Wallace's Pontiac has the power to hold off Dale Earnhardt for his second win of the season. Wallace, a competitor of Kulwicki's since their early racing days, honors his lost friend by turning his car around and taking a Polish victory lap. A lap that Kulwicki took after winning his first Winston Cup race in 1988.
After I took that checkered flag, the crew hollered, do the victory lap. He always was known for driving around backwards, so I did that, and it was pretty emotional. I mean, a lot of people don't like Rusty Wallace, but that last lap when I went around backwards, I think the whole grandstands were cheering. It really felt good.
Bristol was just the beginning of a stretch of 3 consecutive weekends of short track racing. The next stop would be the old .625-mile North Wilkesboro Speedway up in the hill country of western North Carolina. Before the race, Felix Sabates, administrator of the Alan Kulwicki estate, called upon Jimmy Hensley to drive the Kulwicki race car. Just as the 400-lap race got underway, trouble appears in turn 4. Ford drivers Jeff Bodine and Mark Martin get into a tangle, both cars sustaining enough heavy damage to spoil any chance of being major players this day.